Okay, so starting chapter 5. So Arjuna says, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Right? So so Krishna is saying something, and Arjun is understanding or hearing something else, right? Which happens with us all the time. And we'll see how that's working. So Arjun is trying to clarify, ask a question, two things. One is, either are you telling me to renounce work, like not do anything, just go to the Himalayas, renounce work? Krishna never said that. Did you ever hear Krishna say renounce work? No, he never said that to Arjun. He said karma bandhana, right? Renounce yourself from the proprietorship mentality. He never said renounce work, like don't work. That's not Krishna said, but that's what Arjun is asking. Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work, and then again, you recommend work with devotion. So you're saying don't work, and you're saying work with devotion. I don't understand. What are you saying, Krishna? Right? Now, we are understanding this, but Arjun is hearing with filters on. Now, it's important to understand that when we have a certain perspective in mind, we want to hear certain things. So what happens is, no matter what somebody says, we hear what we want to hear. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what happens is, your sensors, your filters are on. So you're looking for something, and when somebody says something, you don't hear the words, you hear what you want to hear. And Arjuna's case, he doesn't want to fight this war, and he's hearing Krishna saying renounce work, which Krishna never said renounce work. Krishna is saying work in devotion, buddhi yoga. He's very, very clear what he is saying. So chapter 4, the Lord advised Arjun to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjun understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work. So people think, oh, renunciation or sannyas means no work. You leave everything of the worldly stuff and you go to the Himalayas, no clothes, naga sannyasi. That's what people think. And even Arjuna is no different. He's also thinking like that. Oh, renunciation of work means no work at all. Krishna is saying renunciation. Let's hear this. Arjuna understands that renunciation is in knowledge, involves cessation of all kinds of work. So I might not be attached to, not, I shouldn't say the book I'm attached to. I might not be attached to the microphone. Today, if there's not microphone, some other microphone I can utilize. I'm attached to speaking to you, not to the microphone. Just because I'm not attached to the microphone doesn't mean I don't use the microphone in service to Krishna. So similarly, renunciation doesn't mean that, there are certain Philosophy Friday group members keep asking the question, oh, sir, if I am not thinking about Krishna, if I'm thinking of Krishna all the time, how can I do any studies? How can I do my homework? How can I do my work? Right? It's not like that. It's not one or the other. It's not like you thinking about Krishna means you stop working, right? It's the essence of life. It's a gratitude of attitude of gratitude, where you're working in service to Krishna. That's the attitude you have, and I'm doing this for Krishna. That's a mood you carry. That doesn't mean you don't do anything besides thinking of Krishna all day. What will you think of Krishna? What do we know about Krishna? Right? We have not read the Bhagavatam. Even if you read the Bhagavatam, still we don't know even a tiny minuscule part of what Krishna. So what can we think? But the point is, mood of action is, this is for Krishna's pleasure. This is what I'm doing because scripture says, because this is pleasing to Krishna, right? This is in adherence to the instructions given by Krishna, etc., etc. So the mood is in Krishna consciousness, not like we're always thinking of Krishna and doing nothing else. That's so Arjun is getting that understanding that, oh, renunciation, means, oh, okay, not doing anything at all. So text 2, let's see what Krishna responds. Krishna is saying, so Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karav Udbhav Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishyasate. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So Krishna is saying that work in devotion. What does that mean? Work in the mood of devotion. You're working even though there is a boss, even though there is a paycheck coming from a certain company, you understand Krishna is maintaining and sustaining you, and you do your 100% in your job, in your family life, in your activities as a professional, as a father, mother, son, daughter, parent, whatever roles we play in our lives, we try to do our 100% because this is for the pleasure of Krishna. This is our service to Krishna. So that becomes Bhakti Yoga. As soon as we think of this is for Krishna, it is Bhakti Yoga. As soon as it is this is for me, it becomes karma. Right? And yoga might or might not be there. Yoga is only there when it's a connection. Yoga means to connect. There's a connection to the Supreme, there is a yoga. There's Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Right? If there is no connection, no yoga. It's just karma. Is that clear so far? Any questions on this? Is anybody in Arjuna's situation thinking renunciation means that you have to leave everything?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. All right. So Krishna is saying that working in devotion is better than renunciation of all activities. So fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are the cause of material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities aiming at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, therefore continuing material bondage perpetually. Now, does that mean, let me ask you a question. Does that mean you should not be having air conditioning during summertime or heaters during winter time in cold places?
Not necessarily, Prabhuji, because you are acting in self-interest and the body is also given by Krishna. So hence it is also a responsibility for us to take care of this body as well.
Correct. Because his body is a tool given by Krishna to serve him. So we take care of this tool so that we can serve him. Right. Very nicely said. People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always given one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. The moment you think, I wish I was rich, I wish I was prettier, I wish I was taller, I wish I was whatever, you're just creating your next body. Because as soon as you have a desire, Krishna is helping or working to create a system to fix that. That you have a desire, here is your next body. So you can fulfill that desire. And guess what? In your next body also you'll have certain unmet desires. So you're good looking, now you have money, but you're like, oh, I wish I could do X, or I wish I could be a normal person. I know so many celebrities who always talk about that. I wish I could be a normal person walking on the streets. And guess what? Next life again, you're a common person. You're not happy being a celebrity. Fine. Right? And like that, people keep moving from one thing to another because they're never happy. And we're not meant to be happy by design. This place, material world, sense gratification is not the answer to happiness. Although it gives temporary pleasure, it does not make us happy or fulfilled from within. And especially with with people understanding this, like when people who drink or take temporary ways of escaping their reality, right? Whether it's addictions or whatever it might be, one might see that, what, for the moment it might feel that you escaped your pain, but eventually the pain keeps coming back, coming back, coming back. So one has to solve the root of the problem to uproot that pain. If you look at Ayurveda is known to be a medication or a system of medication where it uproots the problem and instills a tendency rather than a lifestyle, the food that you eat, the kind of things you do, so that the disease does not come back. But guess what? Modern medication, is more about okay, you're feeling fever, okay, take this pill, the heat will go away. But the body is still struggling. The body is struggling. That's why it's responding to that struggle with high temperature. But we're taking the Tylenol or whatever, aspirin or whatever, to get rid of the heat, but body is still not happy, so that problem persists, and over time that problem becomes a bigger problem, and then you need bigger medication, and then etc., etc. But Ayurveda is different. It doesn't instantly solve it. It might take months to solve a problem, but once it's solved, it's gone. I used to have asthma growing up as a kid, and when I was taking medication, I tried every different thing you can imagine, and it was temporary relief, temporary relief, temporary relief. I took Ayurveda for 3 months, and by God's grace, it has never come back. I mean, it has come back once or twice, but it used to be every month I would have breathing issues and all of that. By God's grace, that's there, not there anymore. So Ayurveda is like that. The first 3 months, I was wondering what's happening. Is there anything happening at all? But after 3 months, it was all good. So similarly with Krishna consciousness also, with permanent solutions, it's a permanent solution. It uproots the tendencies of the heart that take us to sense gratification. One might be addicted to alcohol, tobacco, pornography, all kinds of things, right? But the reason why the addiction is there is because there's a hollowness in the heart. The hollowness in the heart forces us to fulfill that hollow with something materialistic. And being in this world, all we know is sense gratification. The senses are crying out loud. You feed the senses and you're relieved for a few seconds. But again, the senses start crying. Again, you have to feed it. But then when the heart is fulfilled, then you don't need to feed the senses anymore. Heart is satisfied, you're good to go. So that's the Krishna consciousness medicine, where you're completely satisfied from within. You don't need to constantly feed your sense gratification. Whatever situation in life you're in, God has kept you, you will be happy and satisfied, and you would be able to work in Krishna consciousness. In that situation, you will be able to apply the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and move forward in life, grow through life rather than go through life. I like to I stole this from Gaur Gopal Prabhu. He likes to say, grow through life, then go through life. So that's how you grow through life, all the difficulties and all of that. Every moment you're using Krishna conscious principles and growing through that process, right? Any questions so far?
Prabhuji, did you take the Ayurveda treatment before coming to Krishna consciousness?
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Anybody wants to read text 3?
Yes, sir.
Go
May
ahead.
I?
Please.
Text 3. Janeya sa nitya sannyasi yo na vesti na kan kansati nirdvando hi maha baho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna.
Thank you, Shivam.
Thank you, sir.
So Krishna is very nicely explaining what is really renounced. So of course, sannyasi, people who have renounced all forms of possessions are renounced. But Krishna is saying one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcome material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty Arjuna. So, can anybody give an example what that means? One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities. Can somebody give an example?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can I explain?
Yes.
Actually,
Example.
जैसे गर्मी हो या मतलब कोई भी सिचुएशन हो उसमें हम सेम रहे, मतलब जैसे हॉट हो या कोल्ड हो या
वो तो पत्थर भी
सक्सेस हो
होता
या
है.
फेलियर.
Even stones are like that, right? But here Krishna is saying one who neither hates or desires the fruits of his activities.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, just a wild guess. Is it a tree?
Sure, but tree doesn't have a choice. I'm talking about humans here. A tree doesn't have a choice to be attracted. You can take the fruits or not. Tree cannot say, no, you cannot take my fruits. But as a human, right, I'm just trying to give a life example. I'm trying to ask you for a life example where it's a fruit of your activity. And can anybody give an example of where, you might have seen something like this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So from what I remember and understand, I think this could be from the second chapter where Krishna talks about Sthita Prajna. So that is not have any sort of attachment to the outcomes of the results. So let us say you go right, or let us say you build a house, the house comes out fantastic. You are happy at that time. And let us say if the house breaks down for some reason, you tend to get sad. But remaining remaining neutral during these two situations is what I think is being mentioned here. Would that be correct?
Let me ask a follow-up question. So what does that mean? Does that mean you have no emotions? You don't feel bad? Your house just got broken down?
That means it could be one of the leelas of Krishna that he's trying to convey something to you and you take it in that spirit. And by the end of the day, it is all material things. So these are eventually bound to be destroyed at some point or the other, and hence you do not form some sort of a liking towards it.
So, okay. So Krishna is a cruel master that he burns down your house to send you a message.
It could also be a karma as well.
It could be a karma. Okay, that's nice. So rather than a defeatist mentality, right? Better to be in that, like, okay, it's my karma. And another thing is if the house has an insurance on it, then you know what? Okay, fine. It's going to take a few months to rebuild it back. Not a big loss, right? Everything is insured in house.
Right.
So that is also that Krishna is my maintainer and sustainer. This has happened by my karma, and this shall also pass. So that's the mindset. Very nicely, given that. Another thing is that children. One of the biggest products of a human being is their own children. And generally, as parents, we try to be like, oh, I want my child to be exactly this way, act in this way, get this kind of education, this kind of a job, this kind of a wife, this kind of a husband, or whatever else, right? So that's where the attachment really lies. But a detached parent would be like, you know what? Chanakya says this, from the age till 16, you take care of training your child. After that, whatever decision a child makes, it's their choice, it's their life, right? So as soon as the child's shoes are the same size as the parents' shoes, they are free to make their own decisions, and we should accept them. So that's detachment, that although it's your child, you're not attached to how this person becomes and or evolves into it. You give all the resources, you do your part as a parent, you do the guardianship and the training and all of that. But how the child chooses its free will, that's his choice, his or her choice. So one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person free from all dualities. Dualities means hate, love, good, bad, ugly, pretty, heat, cold, dualities. Such a person is free from all dualities, easily overcome material bondage, and is completely liberated. Oh my God, Arjuna. So such a person is liberated. We think liberation comes at death. Liberation is already there for such a person who is not attached to one's labor of outcome. I worked I worked so hard to create this whole system and whatnot. So, for example, IIT, my university, I worked very hard over the years. My mentor worked very hard. My spiritual master worked very hard to create a very powerful preaching program at my university. And now it's been run by somebody else and somebody else down the line. That's fine. Moving on, right? I've moved on, come to India. Somebody else is doing it, and that's it. So there is no attachment. Krishna decided, okay, you have to move to India. I move to India. Tomorrow, Krishna decides you have to move to London. I'll move to London, right? So whatever that is, under Vaishnava guidance, we take life decisions and we transition from point A to point B without getting stuck here and there. We are on a non-stick pan, right? Like it says, a lotus leaf is like that. You put water on lotus leaf, it will not get stuck to the leaf. It's hydrophobic. It's find its way and it will fall off. So similarly, we live in our lives in such a way that Krishna, we are malleable. Krishna, you can utilize me however you want. It's a dynamic life, right? People say settle down. What does settle down mean? Okay, you have this family, this job, this car, this house, and that's your life for the next 50 years. Now go. That's one way of living. Another way of living is, Krishna consciousness is dynamic. And Krishna might throw in some pains and problems and some situations. You might lose your job. You might have to move on. And at that time, Krishna is like, you know what, Krishna, whatever opportunity you give me, I'll grab it and I'll go forward because this is your plan and I'm surrendered to you. It is only Krishna's plan when we are surrendered to Krishna. If you are not surrendered to Krishna, then it's our karma acting and Krishna has nothing to do with it, right? So be very careful in understanding that our situation, the circumstances that we are in are based on either our karma or if you're really surrendered to Krishna, it is Krishna's orchestration so that we can grow in our love and devotion in relationship to Krishna. Okay. One who's fully Krishna conscious is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his action. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and he is a part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. My identification is I am part and parcel of Krishna. Just like some of you asked me, what is humility? How to be humble, right? I was giving that example that my identity is I'm part and parcel of Krishna. That's the only constant. Everything else can change. Looks, money, property, relationships, everything can change. Education, intelligence, knowledge, abilities, everything is ups and downs, ups and downs. Some days you feel superpower, some days you feel like, I can't even move and wake up, right? It's all changing. But one thing that doesn't change, you're part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by default, you're his part, you're divine. By default, you're divine. By design, you're divine. That's who you are. That's your real nature. And as long as that's your identity, no matter how much people appreciate you or people say terrible things about you, it doesn't matter because your identity is not defined by what people say. Your identity is defined by what your understanding is of your relationship with Krishna. Okay. Okay, Thomas Edison. I don't know how that came in. Pooja Gupta, because each individual has his own journey. Amit Ranjan Rai is saying, how can overcome from duality? So Krishna says, Matra Sparshas tu Kaunteya, Shita Ushna Shukha Dukkada, Agama Apaino Anityam, Tam Sitikshvata Bharata. Tolerate. Titikshva. Tolerate. Krishna is saying, Matra Sparshas tu Kaunteya. As soon as the senses come in contact, the Indriya comes in contact with sense objects. So Matra Sparsha, contact. Matra Sparshas tu Kaunteya, Shita Ushna, Sukha Dukha, right? Just like heat and cold, happiness, distress, such dualities are the only options. We are like, it's tasty, the food is not tasty. Too hot, too cold, this or that. These are the options we generally have. And what is Krishna saying? That you have to overcome this duality by tolerating the duality. It might be too cold, but you still wake up in the morning, you take a shower, you do your meditation, and you do your puja. It might be too hot, you still have to go to the kitchen and still have to cook and prepare a meal and offer it to Krishna and the family, right? So just because it's too hot or too cold doesn't mean you don't do your duties, doesn't mean you don't go to job, doesn't mean you don't do what you're supposed to do. You tolerate the dualities and thereby overcome it, right? How do you tolerate it? Not by like, I have to do it. No, you tolerate it because you're in this material world. This is how it's designed. And in this situation, your only constant is your relationship with Krishna. Everything else is to be expected. Duality is to be expected. So you just tolerate that duality and move on with life. Sometimes people will say good things about you. Sometimes they will say bad things about you. You tolerate both and you don't take either of them seriously. The good things you don't take seriously. The bad things you don't take seriously. Many of you know. On my social media posts, there are probably 90% good things people say. But then there's always that 10% who will come and say, you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that, right? It's always there and it's going to grow. Imagine somebody like Prime Minister Modi, being the Prime Minister of the country, how much gali he gets. How much gali he gets, right? So, or any president or any prime minister or any head of anything, any leader, any organization, any CEO. One somebody asked me, so some people I had fired a couple of years back, some disgruntled employee went and started spreading some things about me in the devotee community. So some devotee wrote to me, Hare Krishna Prabhu, shouldn't your employees, former employees glorify you when they say terrible things about you? What does that mean about who you are as a person? And I said, well, have you ever heard an employee who got fired and went out glorifying their boss? That, my God, my boss is such a great personality for firing me. Have you ever heard that? So no, it doesn't. My identity is not dependent on my ex-employees glorifying me or not. My identity is dependent on the work that I do, right? And that's what people see. So, and he did bother me. But the point is, if this happens. This is very common. I have been a CEO since the age of 19, and I've hired and fired many people. I have burnt many bridges, and guess what? They're going to come back to bite me. But all the good work I've done, those are the people who stand up and say, you know what? You cannot say this about Avelo Roy because we know him and he is this kind of a person. So both are there, and it's Shita Ushna, duality. Tolerate both. Move on with life. Know what is important. Gossip is not important. Krishna is important. So keep moving towards Krishna, little by little. Is that clear, Prabhu? Amit Prabhu, I hope that's clear. If you have follow-up, you can always ask. Okay, Sanjeev is asking, Ajit Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Most welcome. Ajit Prabhu, one query. Praying to Supreme Lord and expecting Krishna to lift us from material world, is it not conditional? Rather, we should just surrender to Krishna and leave the outcome to him and not expect. Please enlighten on this point, Hare Krishna. Well, if you can do it, that's great. That's wonderful. But if you cannot do it, that's also wonderful. We don't have to pretend to be somebody we are not. Krishna appreciates honesty. If you are not at that stage where you can completely surrender to Krishna and be like, Krishna, it's all your will. Whatever happens, let it be you. Fantastic. But if you're not there, I'm like, Krishna, I want things my way. I just, I'm too attached to my things, and I'm too attached to my family, and I'm too attached to my way of doing things. Will you please help me? That is also fine at your stage. And slowly, as Krishna consciousness comes in, you will grow in your Krishna consciousness. You will slowly stop asking and demanding Krishna to do things your way. And you'll have enough faith. After seeing how Krishna works in your life, you'll have faith to let Krishna make his choices, and his choices are better than your choices. And eventually you will not ask Krishna to do things your way or be conditional, right? You'll be like, Krishna, Rakho bhi, maro bhi, ja kichu tomar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said like that. Like, if you kill me, if you keep me, it's all up to you. It's all yours, as you wish. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur could say that, or Queen Kunti, she could say that. She wrote like that. Let all the miseries come, so that because with miseries, I can remember you. You're always with us. Without the miseries, you're leaving. Oh, my sons won the battle of Kurukshetra. Now all the good things have happened because of you, and now you're leaving. What's the point? What's the point of happiness when you're not there? So Queen Kunti can speak like that. But if we speak like that, we are anyway in terrible miseries. We cannot deal with that. And then more miseries? Holy cow. No, thank you. Krishna, please keep me out of miseries. And that's where we are. And let's be honest, right? Krishna appreciates honesty than pretension. So yes, it's okay to be conditional at our stage, but eventually learn to trust Krishna. And if Krishna has a plan, know that is better than your plan.
Understand, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Akshat. Prabhuji, you asked for one example of recent verse. Thomas Edison came to mind. Okay. I don't recall what verse and how Thomas Edison is connected, but okay. Preetham, yes, Prabhuji, so nicely Prabhuji explained. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right.
Prabhuji, it was like
yes. Go ahead, Akshat.
That that recent was one person you told, no? So Thomas Edison came to my mind.
Okay.
Like such a person who neither hates nor love, and that was what you were explaining now. So that person came to me. So
I didn't know Thomas Edison was like that. Okay.
Your name is connected to him.
That doesn't mean he's anyway. All right. Yes, Amoga Prabhu, you have a question? Amoga Prabhu, your hand is raised.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yeah. So I want to ask that I'm preparing for a staff selection exam. So it's a competitive in nature. So like, how
you're preparing for
with,
what?
Detachment from result. Staff selection exam. It's a government exam.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the nature of exam is competitive actually. So to like how to detach from the result, as competitive spirit is necessary for that exam.
Compete with yourself.
So
be the best, and then try to beat yourself to be the best of your best, right? You don't have to compete with, when you look at others, let's say, you're competing with a room full of people with IQ level under 80, then you're competing with a room full of duds, people who are not very intelligent. If you look at them, guess what? You're going to be a little better. You're going to be at average intelligence, and you're like, I'm so good. But if you compete with yourself, you can be a genius, Life, there is no limit to how good you can be. So don't look at who is around you. Look at yourself and give your 100%. And if you're at the bottom of the pit at 100% or the top of the pit, this is the best you can do. Do the best you can. That is more important. So in a competitive exam, do the best you can. That's it. Okay. And detachment is you do your best, Krishna will do his part. If you have to get it, you'll get it. If Krishna decides not to get it, you won't get it. You pray to Krishna. So it's in his hands. Otherwise, it's in your karma's hands. Unless you pray and invite Krishna in the picture, it's in the hands of your karma. Whatever you deserve, you'll get. If you're involved with Krishna in the process, then it's in the hands of Krishna, and he'll do what is best for you. So you do your 100%, study, prepare, get all the previous questions, notes, whatever you can. Take exams multiple times, do whatever in your capacity you can. With the understanding that, my dear Krishna, if you so desire, you can help me succeed. If you so desire, you can make me fail. It's totally up to you. But I am doing my part and you can do yours.
Yeah. Thank you.
Prayer makes a huge difference. With prayer, you invite Krishna. Without prayer, you're in your own, on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Hmm?
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Mhm.
So sometimes we don't understand when we undergo a few things if it is our karma or it is divine plan. So how to get it?
So it's a mixture. For us who are aspiring to become devotees, for us it's a mixture. To a certain degree, because we are coming to Bhagavad Gita, so there is some level of surrender to Krishna. So there is some Krishna's plan, and there's some of it is karma. Most of it is karma. And to the degree we are surrendered to Krishna, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. To the degree you're surrendered, to that degree I reciprocate, Krishna says. So to the degree you're surrendered to Krishna, know that Krishna is using your karma as a tool to help you progress in life. So Krishna is very smart. Just because there is karma influencing doesn't mean Krishna cannot use the karma as a tool to help you through. Your karma might be such that, let's say, you're driving and your lights go off suddenly in the middle of the highway. That might be your karma. But it might so happen that Krishna might utilize that karma to teach you an important lesson. Or somebody comes to help you out. Don't trust people on the highway. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving a wild example. Somebody might come to help you out who might transform your life completely, right? Very bad example, but just try to get a point across to you that it is karma and it is also part Krishna's mercy, and know that both are acting hand in hand. Try to move more towards Krishna so that Krishna can leverage your karma to benefit you, bring you forward. Did I confuse you, Navneeta, or is that clear?
It's clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
have a question. So my question is like, it is a kind of an extension to Mataji's question. Like at times we have some certain decisions to make and we are confused, like we invite Krishna, but we are ultimately the decision has to be taken by us. So how do we make sure that we are towards Krishna?
Sure. Chandrama, just a quick question. Are you related to Indranath?
Yes, sir, I'm his sister.
Ah, okay. All right. I saw the last names. Okay. Okay. So that's where Vaishnav guidance comes in, right? So when we are thinking, am I going in towards Krishna or not? Just a quick phone call to somebody who you trust, who is a Vaishnava, who's a mentor, and just validate it. Or a WhatsApp, just validate it that I'm thinking this way. Is this accurate? Is this Krishna's, towards Krishna, or is it away from Krishna? And you'll get a quick answer. That's the importance of a role of a teacher or a guru or a mentor in one's life. I always validate my decisions with my mentor. Not always. Whenever I have a confusion, am I going in the right direction or not? I send a quick WhatsApp to my mentor, and he responds back saying, yes, and add this to it. Or yes, and here's edit, right? Or no, not at all. You're completely mistaken. Here is what you should do, right? So it's that's what the role of a Vaishnava is in our life.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving on to the next verse. Text 4. Somebody wants to read?
Can I read?
Go ahead.
Yeah, 5.4. Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala Pravadanti Na Pandita Ekam Api Astitha Samayak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Translation: only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both.
Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the Sankhya yoga. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves results of both. The aim of the analytical study of material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the Supreme Soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the Supreme Soul. One process is to find the root of the tree. The other is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then, in perfect knowledge, engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purpose of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. So let's understand. I'm guessing this is the first time many of you are hearing Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya, the word comes from numbers or counting, Sankhya. So Sankhya Yoga is an analytical study of anything. So according to Sankhya Yoga, the material world is dissected empirically, analytically, to find out what is the material world made up of. Just like the scientific, modern science has broken it down, matter, break it down, comes to molecular level. Break down the molecule, comes to atomic level. Break down the atom, comes to neutrons, protons, and electrons, right? That's how modern science has broken down the system. Sankhya Yoga is a Vedic way of breaking down and really going to the root of material existence. What is it made up of? So, for example, Sankhya comes up with this process, which we'll read shortly, is about, so the five senses, karmendriya, jnanendriya, the five knowledge acquiring senses, and then we'll talk about the five sense objects, so 15. And like that, it will decipher, and then it will go into the mind, intelligence, and ego, right? And then it will go into what is left after all of these material, subtle matter, gross matter, and all of that. And the one thing that's remaining is soul, and then there is God, right? So like that, it breaks down into earth, water, fire, air, ether, the senses, the sense objects, etc., and then gets to the soul and super soul. So that's how it breaks down material world matter into pieces, and then finds it, what is that thing that is conscious, is separate from all of these other things, and that is the soul. And then the soul, there's a Supreme Soul, Krishna, etc. So whereas Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, or that's also that acting in Krishna consciousness. So one, Srila Prabhupada explains beautifully, that one is the act of digging in to find the root of the tree. The other is the act of watering the root of the tree so that the tree grows, right? So in the Bhakti process, we are watering the root of the tree. In the Sankhya process, we are trying to find where is the root. So you find the root and you water the root. But Bhakti does not require Sankhya. They are not independent. Bhakti is not dependent on Sankhya. You can directly come to the understanding of where the root is from scriptures and directly water the root, rather than going through the analytical study of like breaking it down, earth, wire, fire, ether, and sense objects, and knowledge acquiring senses, and this and that, and mind, ego, false ego. You don't have to go through all of that to come to the conclusion that Krishna is God and I should serve him. And if I serve Krishna, entire creation gets benefited, right? I'm watering the root. So when you water the root, the stem gets benefited, the branches get benefited, the leaves get benefited, the fruits get benefited, everything gets benefited in the tree. But if you water the leaf, if you water the flower, nothing gets benefited, right? Only cleaning the dust. But nourishment comes when you water the root. So when you serve Krishna, everybody's nourished. Just like in Draupadi's case, when Durvasa Muni came with his 60,000 disciples, Draupadi is like, oh my God, what do I do? Krishna, help! Right? And Krishna came immediately. And what did Krishna need? Krishna is like, feed me first. Draupadi is like, this 60,000 disciples and Durvasa Muni, who can curse me any moment, he's waiting to curse me, if I don't feed him. And here you're asking for food. Krishna, come on. I requested you to come and save me. Krishna is like, feed me first. It's like, I'm done. There's nothing left. Oh, there is one little spinach over there, I see. Right? I want that spinach. Krishna takes it. Ah, so tasty. I'm so satisfied. And guess what? When Krishna is satisfied, Durvasa Muni, all the 60,000 disciples, they're like, oh, we are so full. They're taking a bath in the river. They're like, oh, we are so full. We cannot move. We are so full. Oh, if we go to Yudhishthira Maharaj's house and if we don't honor Prasadam, he will feel upset. Let's run away from here. Right? Krishna is like, okay, I'm satisfied. Draupadi is like, but what about them? And then Krishna is like, send somebody to see how they're doing. And they come back saying, oh, they're running away. There was a Muni and 6,000 disciples, they're just wobbling away, not running. Wobbling away, they're so satisfied. So that's an example to showcase that when Krishna is satisfied, everybody is satisfied. Another example, all the Vrajvasis in Gokul, they're wanting to worship Indra. Every year, they're all Vrajvasis, they're agrarian, right? Agricultural people. So they worship Indra for rain. And this time, Krishna is like, no, worship Govardhan. Don't worship Indra. Please, daddy. He's telling Anand Maharaj, please worship Govardhan. Govardhan is taking care of the cows, is taking care of all of us. We get so much from Govardhan. Why don't we worship Govardhan? You offer all your offerings to Govardhan, not to Indra. And Nand Maharaj is like, but that's a tradition, beta. That's how it works, Nandlala. Please understand, this is what we are. And Krishna asks all the villagers to come. It's like, come, everyone. And Krishna gives beautiful Sattvic arguments. And everybody agrees, okay, Krishna said it, we'll worship Govardhan. And then Krishna becomes, Krishna as Govardhan starts eating all the prasadam, aniyor. And they're offering food and Krishna is eating and Krishna is eating and eating and eating. And they're like, whoa, we're running out of food. And finally, somebody offers tulsi. Govardhan is very happy. Now, Indra is like, what? This little village called Vrindavan, they're so powerful. This little Krishna they're feeding. They won't feed me. Let me teach them a lesson. And Krishna starts sending them all kinds of clouds that are actually used for universal annihilation. When the planets are destroyed, Indra sends that kind of thunderbolts. He says, you thunderbolts, go and destroy Vrindavan and show them who's the boss. Indra being very, very proud of his situation as the king of the demigods. And guess what? Entire Vrindavan gets flooded. All the cows and calves and gopas and gopis and everyone, Krishna, help! And Krishna is like, yes, okay, follow me to Govardhan. So they all go to Govardhan. Krishna lifts Govardhan, left hand, pinky, lifts up Govardhan like that. Everybody comes under Govardhan. And Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra goes around Govardhan, drying up the water with heat. It's constantly drying up the water. No water can enter where Krishna and all the Vrajvasis are under the Govardhan hill. Krishna is happy. All the gopas, gopis, everybody's having wonderful loving exchange with Krishna. 7 days, Indra tries everything. They say that the rainfall was, not like droplets of rain. It was literally pillars of rain falling on Vrindavan. It was the thunderbolts that are used to destroy the universe. Those are being used, but nothing happened to Vrindavan. Krishna was protecting everyone, and Krishna was having so much fun because for the first time, Krishna was with all his devotees. He's sometimes with the gopis. When he's with the gopis, he's not with the gopas. When he's with the gopas herding cows, he's not with the gopis, right? When he's with the parents, he's not with anyone, right? So, but here parents are there, seniors are there, cows are there, calves are there, peacocks are there, gopas, gopis, everybody is there with Krishna, and Krishna is having a blast with all of them, right? Indra on the other side is getting tired. After 7 days, finally Indra realizes what is going on. How can a little boy who's I think 7 years old at the time, Krishna, like how can a little 7-year-old be so powerful that I am trying so hard and nothing is happening. And finally, he becomes a little humble. And when he becomes humble, the intoxication dust of pride goes away. And he realizes, oh my God, is this the personality of Godhead? Yes, this must be Krishna. No one else can do what he did. This must be my Lord. And then he says, oh, if I go alone, I'm totally screwed. So he says, hey, Surabhi. He takes Surabhi cow with him. Like Krishna loves cows. And Surabhi is a very dear cow. So like, let's go together. Seeing you, Krishna will be pleased. And then after you, I will come. Right? And they go to Krishna, and then Ivartika, am I saying the name right? So this elephant that Indra has, I think it has 5 heads or something, a lot of trunks and all. So this elephant starts doing shower, abhishek of Krishna. And, wonderful prayers, wonderful apologies are offered to Krishna. And Krishna is like, okay, fine. And Krishna goes and plays after that. But Indra realizes this is God. I should never, ever mess with him. Sorry, what happened to me? I fell under illusion. The point is, Krishna was again trying to prove a point there with Govardhan Leela. And we do Govardhan Puja, right, day before or after Diwali, generally before Diwali. And we have Annakut to recreate this whole pastime. This the whole rice, and we make trees out of broccoli and all of that. Govardhan is created, right? And the whole thing is to remind us that Krishna is trying to tell us something. Krishna is trying to tell us that, you know what, don't be fooled by thinking that you can give taxes at every department. Pay your taxes in one place and I will take care of everything. You just please me. You feed me. I will feed all the departments. All the demigods will be pleased. Your forefathers will be pleased. You have no duties to anyone but me. You take care of me, I will take care of everything. You try to take care of every little thing, nobody's pleased with you. Try to take care of the wife, mother-in-law gets upset, right? You take care of this, somebody else gets upset. You take care of that, somebody else gets... You can never please everyone. But if you please Krishna, at least you know that he will take care of everything, right? He's a root. So we watered the root and everything gets nourished. And anywhere else we water, nothing gets nourished. That's the idea. So Krishna, so multiple examples I'm trying to showcase here, Draupadi's example or Govardhan Puja, that Krishna is a root. You offer everything to Krishna, you pray to Krishna, he's your shelter. For anything, exclusivity to Krishna. And Krishna is your one-stop solution for all your problems. And he's your shelter and he's everything. If this is clear, nothing can break us. If this is not clear, we will be swayed by Maya very quickly. Okay, I'm done. Let's see. There are a lot of chats here. Really beautiful. Airavata. That's right. Thank you so much. Airavata. Pritam is saying, Prabhuji, the way you explained the pastime of the Lord, could see the Leela in our mind. That's very wonderful. So I am repeating what my spiritual master actually shared. So he explains things in such a beautiful way that you can actually visualize it. So that's where glories to him. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions? We have 3 more minutes. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Have a good night.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare